The term open-world game is practically synonymous with the Grand Theft Auto series. Rockstar's cultural phenomenon of a video game franchise has pushed the boundaries of what games can do for years, and GTA 5 was their most ambitious yet. Plus, who doesn't love driving around like a madman? Grab your guns and grab someone else's car, because it's time for 107 more facts about Grand Theft Auto 5.
Show me!
Let's get started. Grand Theft Auto 5 had 3 different versions released in 3 different years. In 2013, a version for the PS3 and Xbox 360 was released. In 2014, it was released on the PS4 and Xbox One. And finally, in 2015, it came out for PC. The original versions of the game only let you play in third-person mode. However, with the release of the PS4, Xbox One, and PC versions of the game, players could enjoy GTA 5 in first person. The game became more immersive than ever. Sam and Dan Houser, founders of Rockstar Games, were born in London in the 1970s. They loved American crime movies and spaghetti westerns, which inspired them to create games like Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead Redemption. GTA producer Leslie Benzies said that Rockstar could hypothetically churn out a new GTA game every year, but they choose to take their time and make each and every release ambitious and polished in order to repay the fans who have had so much faith in them. Thanks guys, it isn't unappreciated. Rockstar put a lot of elbow grease into the game. 80% of the company, which sprawls across 8 international subsidiaries, worked on GTA 5. These hands from all over the world included teams of developers working from branches in San Diego, Leeds, Toronto, New England, and London. Rockstar migrated part of the team that worked on Max Payne 3 to come over and improve GTA 5's gunplay. They added a new over-the-shoulder aim view that gives players a better field of vision when shooting. GTA 5 is built using Rage. That stands for Rockstar Advanced Game Engine. The engine was overhauled and improved to get a better draw distance, meaning the player could see further into the distance before the environment stops being rendered. The driving system was revamped too. Rockstar took influence from racing games in order to give the cars a better feel when you drive them. It's definitely better than the boat-like driving controls from GTA 4. Making a first-person mode was something that Rockstar was always interested in, but they weren't able to do it at first. They were already plenty busy making the version of the game that was originally released. Not only that, but 7th generation consoles didn't have enough memory to handle the first-person modes, meaning that a first-person version in the earlier game would have had a lot of sacrifices in other areas. Still, making the first-person switch for this generation wasn't simple. A lot of the game had to essentially be rebuilt from the ground up, since nearly every aspect needs to be changed. Everything had to be animated for the camera to make it feel like a real viewpoint. Timings of guns had to be reevaluated, and even the trigger animation needed to be fixed. If you play the game in first-person mode, you'll notice a lot of subtle details. Hop into a car and all the dials and meters work, and putting on helmets or goggles will alter your vision accordingly. A lot of work also went into the weapons for the first-person system. All of the weapons had their resolution increased and recoil was added. Rockstar created 3,000 new animations just for the weapons. Animations and detail were also used to give additional characterization to Michael, Trevor, and Franklin. Franklin will sometimes crack his knuckles or adjust his hat. When relaxing at home, Michael will light up a cigar, and looking down at Trevor's arms will reveal very detailed scars and marks. Rockstar chose to somewhat distance GTA 5 from its previous games. Since Niko Bellic had a particular kind of story, this one had to be different. Things might get referenced, but they wanted to create an overall fresh take on what it means to be a criminal in this world of hyper-real Americana. While previous GTA games had only one playable protagonist, GTA 5 lets you switch between 3, Michael, Franklin, and Trevor. Dan said that this switch was partly made just to do something new. Not to mention that while working on the DLC episodes for GTA 4, Rockstar liked how the crossover of different stories worked and decided to replicate that in a single game. Thus, the game and protagonists were designed so that Franklin, Trevor, and Michael's interactions would be a crucial part of the game's narrative. Something similar was touched on between Nico, Johnny, and Louise in GTA 4, but Rockstar wanted to double down on that in GTA 5. The first character thought up for GTA 5 was Michael. Whereas previous game protagonists were young up-and-comers starting from nothing and working their way up, Rockstar thought it would be an interesting departure from previous games to play as a retired criminal who had already made it big. Franklin was the second character created for the game. He was included because the creators wanted to include a younger character to contrast with Michael and create a mentor-mentee relationship. Dan considers him the more traditional GTA protagonist. Trevor was the final character created. The idea for Trevor came out of nowhere, which only adds to his unique charm. In fact, when conceptualizing the character, Trevor was partially made to be the antithesis to Michael. While Michael is supposed to represent controlled criminality, Trevor is what happens when it's all let loose. Fitting, since GTA 5's creators consider Michael to be the ego and Trevor to be the id. Since GTA 5 follows the 3 interlocking narratives, Rockstar decided to structure the game around several huge missions that the other smaller missions would build up to, instead of having one big set piece finishing off the game. Dan is in love with the city of Los Angeles and has been surveying it ever since doing research for 2004's GTA San Andreas. He believes it is the quintessential representation of the 20th century American dream, since everything in LA has a slightly fake feeling to it. It's phony, and the movie business is also an industry of illusions. Simply, it's people trying to escape their pasts and reinvent themselves. Rockstar used what it learned from Red Dead Redemption to add much more life to the wildlife in GTA 5. Instead of just being decoration, the animals are living, breathing parts of the world that the player can interact with. Rockstar chose not to return to San Andreas for GTA 5 because they felt it would be redundant. The hardware of the 7th generation consoles had given them so much more room for improvement, and they wanted to build up a brand new world from scratch. Back in the days of developing GTA games for the PS2, the entire studio would go on the research trips to scout locations for the game. But now that Rockstar is such an enormous company, it's mostly just the senior staff that gets invited along. I'm sure no one felt the slightest bit of resentment about that. Still, the team did a lot of research to get the most out of Los Angeles, the real-world city that inspired Los Santos. They often went to LA to research locations, people, and knowledge of the LA underworld. They just hung out with these people just to see what would happen. GTA 5 isn't Rockstar's only game to take place in realistic Los Angeles. The 2011 game LA Noire was also set in Hollywood, although it was a much earlier time period. The game's setting was inspired by the 2008 economic crisis. Rockstar felt that since one of the richest places in the world is California, that would be one of the places most affected by the crash, so it felt right that California should be where the game was set. To create even more accuracy for the game, Rockstar studied census data and documentaries along with virtual globe models of Los Angeles. Google Maps and Street View projections of LA were used to help build and design the road networks in GTA 5. It's a good thing they didn't make the traffic in Los Santos as bad as it is in real life. Steal a car and then just get stuck on the 101 for 4 hours. Gameplay. To make a realistic world, even the tiniest details are crucial. One thing the game creators had to consider was the speed people walked. This was because they noticed that compared to New York, people walk slower in warm Los Angeles as to not sweat. GTA 5 has an enormous map featuring a variety of locations, from desert to beach to mountains to city centers. The entire map is open to the player from the beginning. One of the reasons the map is so big is because Rockstar wanted to create a world big enough to make flying in a plane or a helicopter fun and practical. One of the criticisms in GTA was that the player might find themselves out in the countryside with nothing to do and then take a long drive back to the city. Rockstar addressed this in GTA 5 by not only increasing the number of activities in the game across the map, but also by having the other two protagonists explore on their own territories. Are you in the countryside and want to go back to the city? Just switch to a different character and you're there instantly. Franklin, Trevor, and Michael all live in very different parts of the game's map. This was done as a way to help the player explore the huge world of GTA 5. There's a lot to see, so don't just stick to one character. As big as GTA 5's world is, it's still nothing compared to the real thing. The game's world is 49 square miles. That's about 1/80th the size of the actual Los Angeles County. Art director Aaron Garbett estimated that the game's world is large enough to fit Red Dead Redemption, GTA San Andreas, and GTA 4 inside of it. Now that is a crossover I want to play. Get to work, Rockstar. GTA 5 features a soundtrack of original music to accompany its missions. This decision was inspired by the success of the original scores from Rockstar's Red Dead Redemption and Max Payne. Of course, Rockstar didn't want to lose the radio music, so they decided to include both. In fact, GTA 5 is the first GTA game to have a score in addition to licensed radio music. The score plays dynamically, meaning that it comes and goes with different tracks depending on what your character is doing. To create GTA 5's score, The Alchemist, Oh No, and Tangerine Dream were brought on to compose alongside Woody Jackson. Woody Jackson previously worked with Rockstar to create the scores for Red Dead Redemption, LA Noire, and Max Payne 3. The most exciting part of creating the radio stations was working with Stephen Pope and Nate Williams from the band Waves to create Vinewood Boulevard Radio. This is a modern rock station meant to be the embodiment of the young LA rock scene. GTA games are known for their radio stations, but one station they've never done before GTA 5 was a pop station. Rockstar felt that in a game designed around Los Angeles, it only made sense to include it. Now you can cruise around doing drive-by shootings while blasting Britney Spears. To pay respect to LA's thriving Mexican culture, Rockstar created East Los FM. This station was curated and DJ mixed by Camilo Lara from the Mexican Institute of Sound. It features Mexican electronica, narco-corridos, other traditional songs, and Mexican ska. The West Coast Classic station is hosted by DJ Pooh. He's produced music acts including Ice Cube, Del the Funky Homo Sapien, and LL Cool J. You might also recognize some of his writing and acting work. DJ Pooh co-wrote the film Friday and played the character Red in the film. He's also a co-writer of GTA San Andreas. In an interview with Rolling Stone, Rockstar's soundtrack supervisor Ivan Pavlovich said, "I'm driving over to Dre's house, what do you need from him?" And then 30 minutes later, he's like, "I'm going to Snoop's house." The team really felt that Pooh brought them some true gems, which helped create a surprisingly great radio station. One of the artists featured in the game's soundtrack is Tyler, the Creator. Tyler met Ivan at the Pitchfork Music Festival, and the first thing he said to Ivan was, "San Andreas is my You gotta tell me when the next GTA is coming. Dreams really do come true. If you liked the soundtrack in the game's first version, you'll love the newer version even more. The PS4, Xbox One, and PC versions of GTA 5 added 162 songs to the game distributed across its 17 radio stations. It definitely adds musical variety for your next few police chases. Love the soundtrack to GTA 5 so much that you want to listen to it even when you're not playing the game? Well, you can. The soundtrack was released in 2014 on both CD and vinyl. Ooh, fancy. Michael is voiced by Ned Luke, who had been in the acting business for over 20 years, appearing on shows from All My Children to Law & Order. Prior to being cast in GTA 5, he took a 4-year break to figure out what he really wanted to do in life. When his agent suggested that he audition for GTA 5, he initially dismissed it, but was immediately won over after reading the script. Luke considers Michael to be a combination of Ward Cleaver from Leave It to Beaver and Tony Montana from Scarface. Can you see it? Trevor is played by Stephen Ogg. You may recognize him as Simon from The Walking Dead. Who do you think would win in a fight, Trevor or Negan? Ogg wanted to make sure that he brought some emotional depth to Trevor's character. He didn't want him to come off as a hot-headed druggie, so the biggest challenge was eliciting other emotions from the character.
I'm so sorry.
Ogg said that his portrayal of the role was strongly influenced by Tom Hardy's portrayal of Charles Bronson in the 2008 biopic Bronson. Franklin is played by Shawn Fonteno. Fonteno's real-life experience made him a perfect fit for the role. He grew up in a neighborhood in Los Angeles, joined a gang, and sold drugs before a near-fatal shooting made him decide to turn his life around. Fonteno was brought onto the project by DJ Pooh to help find someone to play Franklin, but in the end, he was chosen for the role himself. At the time of recording Franklin, Fonteno was a bit rusty with his acting. After all, the last film he was in was 2001's The Wash. He leaned on the experience of the other two actors to help get him in shape for the role. Rockstar likes to keep secrets. Even though the actors who ended up playing the protagonists knew that they were auditioning for characters in a Rockstar game, they didn't know the game was going to be Grand Theft Auto 5 until after they got the parts. The faces and bodies of the three protagonists are modeled after the appearance of their respective actors. Ogg described an incident where he was at a bar and a stranger approached him saying he'd look exactly like this video game character named Trevor if he didn't have a mustache. GTA 5 is more like a movie than you may think. All of the playable characters' animations were done through motion capture, meaning that many of the actors physically acted out their roles as well as voice acting. It took almost 3 years to complete the motion capture for the game's three protagonists. They performed their motion capture with makeshift props and set pieces made of pipes which the actors had to pretend were things like couches, chairs, and vehicles. Trevor and Michael's actors had great on-set chemistry even before they were chosen to play the roles. Ogg said, quote, "When Luke and I were in the room together, we immediately had something." Thought Trevor was as American as apple pie? Wrong. In fact, both Trevor and his voice actor Stephen Ogg are Canadian, eh?
Hey, so I grew up in Canada, huh? What's the big deal?
All three protagonists in GTA 5 have their own special ability based on their personality. Michael, the retired professional, can go into bullet time mode and fight with the world slowed down. Franklin, the getaway driver, can drive while experiencing the world in slow motion. And Trevor, the berserker madman, can fight while dealing twice as much damage and taking half damage. Each of these abilities runs on a meter which is depleted by using them, but different actions recharge the meters depending on who you're playing as. Franklin's meter recharges when you drift in a car, Michael's recharges when you get a headshot, and Trevor's recharges when he kills pedestrians with an explosion, because he's insane. The Grand Theft Auto series is known for its sharp social satire and criticism. They were especially direct with the subject of torture. After a scene in which the character tortures an NPC, Trevor goes on an anti-torture monologue.
You torture for the good times! We should all admit that!
Despite the anti-torture message, the sequence drew criticism from anti-torture activists. Keith Best of Freedom from Torture said the game crossed a line by forcing the player to participate in it. British Labour Party MP Keith Vaz said he was astonished by the level of violence in the mission. Alison Sherratt of the Association of Teachers and Lecturers warned parents should be aware of their children playing the game because of the realistic graphics and violence. The torture scene, meanwhile, didn't bother Stephen Ogg at all. While performing the motion capture for it, he said he was more worried about not bumping into the camera. He called the scene just another day at the office. The Japanese version of GTA 5 features a number of edits to censor the game. The scene in which Trevor pulls down his pants to show his penis keeps the dialogue and animation, but despite him going through the motions of pulling down his pants, they remain on. Whereas the torture scene with Trevor was just removed entirely. In 2014, Target stores in Australia ceased the sale of Grand Theft Auto 5 in response to a Change.org petition with nearly 50,000 signatures on it. The petition asked for the game to be removed due to what the petition felt were offensive portrayals of women in the game. Actress Lindsay Lohan sued Rockstar for allegedly using her likeness in the game. However, the lawsuit was dismissed on the grounds that the game didn't use her actual name, portrait, or picture. The graphics in GTA 5 display incredible attention to detail. When you get in the water, your character character will get wet only up to the point you waded in, and your characters will get sweaty when they run or exercise. The game features a number of entertaining street performers. Walk by at the right time and you'll see them break character to answer their cell phones. Just don't take a picture of them without tipping or they'll get mad. The NPCs are smarter than they look. If you try to solicit a prostitute while a police car is close, the woman won't approach you and will try to not attract attention. The NPCs appreciate fast cars too. If you pull up to a stoplight in your sports car next to an NPC driving another sports car, rev your engines and they'll race you once the light turns green. Not only that, but burning rubber will get pedestrians excited and want to take pictures of you. But if you want to keep up the nice attention, make sure to take care of your car. Cars in GTA 5 get dirty as you drive them, and if your car is especially filthy, NPCs will start saying not so nice things about it. All vehicles in the game are drivable by the player. However, it won't always be as easy as walking up to it and taking the vehicle. For example, airport security is not going to let you just walk away with a jet, so be prepared to fight hard for it. The mini-games were designed to be more than just little distractions. Rockstar balanced them so that they'd be fun and accessible. Not everyone would want to spend a ton of time learning an intricate and realistic tennis simulator, so they simplified it. The game has the player butt heads with agents from the FIB and the IAA. These are GTA's versions of the real-life intelligence agencies, the FBI and the CIA. Like anyone else, Michael can benefit from some therapy. One of the activities the player can do is visit the therapist who appears in an early cutscene. When he's with the therapist, Michael will tell the good doctor all about his exploits of sleeping with prostitutes and running over pedestrians. Michael, Trevor, and Franklin are friends, but even friendship has its limits. If you take Michael's car out for a spin while playing as Franklin or Trevor, expect to get a phone call from Michael yelling at you. Between the events of the prologue and the rest of the main game, Trevor believed Michael was dead. That's why in the years between, he got himself a RIP Michael tattoo on his chest. He must have felt pretty silly when he found out Michael was alive, huh? Actually, on second thought, he probably didn't think about it too much. Trevor doesn't really think much about anything. There's no brand unity among our three protagonists. They all have a different type of phone. Between them, there's GTA's version of iOS, Android, and Windows phones. Come on, what kind of hipster owns a Windows phone? Spoiler warning, at the end of the game, Franklin is given the decision whether to kill Trevor, Michael, or spare both. The game has 3 endings depending on which choice you make. Feeling lonely? In GTA 5, you can call up to 2 characters to hang out with you, because between all of the stealing and killing, sometimes you just want to kick back and play some tennis with buddies. As a family man, Michael can go out drinking with his wife Amanda. Doing this will give you more insight into their relationship. Cops aren't the only hostile NPCs you have to worry about. Beware the residents of Grove Street. If you attack one of the gang members, they'll all come after you. Feel like taking a dip in the water hazards at the golf course? You'll see a bunch of golf balls littering the floor. If this whole criminal thing doesn't work out, I guess you could always sell salvaged golf balls for a living. Are you brave enough to play chicken with a train? Many have tried, all have failed. The train is notorious for being impossible to derail. Seriously, give it a try. All you'll get for your troubles is a friendly honk of the horn to know death is near. Robbing a store is a quick way to make a little bit of cash, but be careful where you do it. If you rob a store repeatedly, the clerk will recognize you and have police waiting for you the next time you show up. Don't abuse your friend's hospitality. Shooting up one of the characters' houses while playing as another will earn you some scornful texts, cause, you know, friends don't shoot friends' TVs with shotguns. What's a little teasing between friends? In the beginning of the game, Lamar makes fun of Franklin's haircut. Later on, he'll have different dialogue depending on whether or not you changed it. If you try to call a character and they don't answer their phone, try again later. Some characters' voicemails change as the game progresses. Be careful with your planes. Birds can get sucked in through the jets. The driving experience is extremely detailed. Driving on either the left or right shoulder will make the corresponding side of your controller vibrate. Older cars have loud brakes and take longer to get started, and making a quick hard stop will make your passengers lurch forward due to the inertia. Sometimes you just have to stop and smell the roses. Let your character idle for long enough and the game will switch into first-person mode. The character will look around and his gaze might even gravitate towards some lovely ladies. Want to buy a physical copy of the PC version of GTA 5? Hope you like discs, because this game is so huge that it takes 7 discs to install. Man, we can barely wait for a loading screen to end these days. Shortly after the release of GTA 5, the online version, Grand Theft Auto 5 Online, was launched on October 1st, 2013. This was 2 weeks after the base game came out. GTA Online launched with a number of disastrous technical issues. The game didn't have an open beta, and Rockstar was unprepared to handle the enormous